Welcome to Sharks Weekly. I'm Josh Raphael. Today I have with me Nova Southeastern guard Kyarrah Grant. How are you doing today, Kyarrah?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, kind of just kick it right off. Just kind of tell me what inspired you to start playing basketball.
For me, basketball has always been in my life or in my family. Both of my parents played college ball. My mom, she played at UNLV. She's a Hall of Famer there. And so they've been playing for quite a bit. And I was practically born with a basketball in my hand. And I just fell in love with the game, always watching my parents play, watching my older brother, even my younger, our second eldest. He used to play too. They played through high school. And I just fell in love with it, just watching them play and wanting to get better. And basketball, like being Native American, basketball is a really big thing on the reservation where I live. So we've always had basketball tournaments going on, rec league and stuff. So it's always been a big part of my life, and I always just wanted to keep playing. So when I had a chance to play college ball, I took it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And kind of before you got to college, I mean, we got to highlight your insane high school resume. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know that you went 65-4 at one point in high school, back-to-back state championships. I mean, talk to us about that. Being able to be that successful in high school. I mean, to lose four games in a couple years, like that's unbelievable. So kind of talk to me a little bit about that and how that experience was.
What really helped for our team, what really helped is that we all grew up playing with each other. We all had played in a team with, like, I would say when we were like 10. And so I knew those girls growing up, and we just formed that bond when we played with each other. So we every year we got better. And that was our junior senior year when we won back-to-back state championships, and by then we've just found a groove. We found what everyone would do, their personalities, what we would do. We just played hard together. And that was the fun, like the best high school years was my junior, senior year in for basketball, because we just had so much fun just playing together.
Mm-hmm. No, that's big. I mean, and also not just you winning. I mean, you were also a three-star guard according to ESPN, and that's an incredible feat already right there because not a lot of people can be ranked, especially by someone like ESPN. So kind of tell me, do you feel like were you excited about that ranking, or do you feel like you probably should have been ranked a little bit higher given your resume?
Given my resume, I never really look at that for
Yeah.
me. When
Okay.
found out I was a three-star guard, I was like, okay, I'll take it. But at the same time, I was like, I want to get better. I always took it
Yeah.
as like a sign of what people think of me and trying to get better every time.
Yeah.
And and I think, to me, like, from where I came from, that's amazing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, from being native, being from the reservation, growing up and on the reservation, and not even that, being in Mississippi, and they don't really have a lot of, like, not a lot of opportunities either.
Yeah.
So being our guard and getting a lot of looks and stuff, I feel like I did great,
Yeah.
and always wanted to get better.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And then obviously after high school, after your illustrious high school career, you go to UT Martin. So talk to me about that time there. I saw that you redshirted and obviously COVID happened. So obviously before you transferred over here, kind of talk to me a little bit about your time at UT Martin and how it was.
I really liked, playing at UT Martin, and it taught me a lot of the college ball, and how hard it is to go from high school to college ball,
Yeah.
because it's so different. Everyone is faster, everyone's stronger, everyone's a better shooter, everyone's a better ball handler. And for me, that kind of was a big shock. And so the coaches, they really pushed me. And it was a bad thing then from what I thought. But, like, looking back at it now, it was really good for me. And so when I did decide to redshirt that my sophomore year, I continued to get better, continued practicing with the team. And then I decided, this the way how things were set up over there, it wasn't the best opportunity for me. So
Hmm.
that's why I decided to transfer. And, Nova was just a good pick for me.
Yeah. so obviously you said Nova was a good pick. I mean, when you're going through your whole in terms of like it's like a recruitment process again, in a sense, what made Nova just stand out that you were like, yeah, I want to go here and I want to be a shark.
The main reason would be Skyla Osceola. I used to play with her. We have native tournaments, and I used to play with her. I played in a couple tournaments with her, and we always just stayed connected. And I remember we used to joke around saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna play together again," in college and stuff. And then she went to Nova her freshman year, and I decided to go to Martin. So then when I decided to transfer from Martin to look for another place, she reached out. She was like, if you want to come to Nova, you can. So I was like, I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
And looked at Nova, looked at the opportunities both athletically and academically, and it's one of the best academically. What I wanted to do was go to med school, and they do have a med school here, which is also another big reason. And I really like the coaches. Sky was telling me about the coaches, and I always take her word for it because I do trust her a lot. And she was like the gateway of like looking into Nova, and I just really liked it here.
Yeah. She was like the end, she was like she kind of gave you the guidance. No, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So obviously you transferred to Nova. And this is, I mean, as far as I know, is this the first time that you're playing without your sister in terms of when you transferred over here? I mean, like, how was that? I mean, because I know you talk about family a lot, and obviously, your whole family's been there with you, but your sister is literally there with you from literally as soon as you came on Earth. So, how was it transferring and she's not there with you on a day-to-day basis?
Let me tell you, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done because ever since we were born, we were stuck to the hip. There was never a day we went without each other. If it was only a couple hours, then we were back together again. And our family's so close knit that we just do a lot of things together as a family. And me and Kyarrah are no different, being so close together. She is my best friend. And when I finally decided to transfer, she decided to stay.
Mhm.
It was one of the hardest things I had to do because I was never alone. I
Mhm.
always had that one person to talk to, one person to always be with and do stuff with. So coming to Nova, it was a real shock being by myself, but I feel like we needed that
Mhm.
to be like our own person, and we are now like being together back together. It's a lot better because we are still our own person. We have our own identity, but it really was one of the hardest few months, like especially the first like 2 months, I would say,
Yeah.
was one of the hardest because we just didn't have each other like by each other. So we felt like really lonely, especially
Mhm.
me. Like, I felt so lonely.
Yeah.
So I technically on the phone with her like 24/7. I got a chance going on FaceTime.
Yeah.
It did get better a little bit. And then now she's here and it's the best thing ever.
Yeah. So I mean, how ecstatic were you when she was like, all right, I'm coming to Florida with you? Like, was it obviously you said you guys found yourselves in terms of as individuals, but I mean, was it just a relief knowing, okay, my right hand is literally coming back with me and we'll be able to play basketball again together?
It was because we always talked about playing ball together, playing college ball together. So when I left, I thought it was the end of me and Kiana playing college ball together. So when she said, like, I was kind of, trying to convince her to come to Nova.
Yeah.
I was really happy. I was like, we can finally finish like our college career together.
Yeah.
Like one last year because this is her last year and I have one more year after, but like we could finish hers at least together.
Yeah. There's no other way to go out, no other better way to go out for sure. And then obviously, looking at your play at NSU, I feel like you can create for yourself, but something I find that's so underrated is your ability to create for others. And I think that's so essential, especially with the team that you guys have now. You guys are all so selfless. And
Mm-hmm.
like, how were you able to click with the team so fast? Granted, you were here for a year already, but it just looked like you guys have been playing together for years. So like what do you attribute not only your selfless play, but just how you guys were able to click so fast?
One thing is like we got together off the court. We
Mm-hmm.
we together off the court and to know everyone's personalities. And I think that really helped in the beginning. And so when we got on the court, we trusted each other because of
Yeah.
what we did. And for me, like I'm such a selfless player. Like
Yeah.
people want me to be more selfish, which I can't. To me, I always want to look for the other player. I always think we'll get another opportunity. So whenever I get the ball and I drive, I look for the open person because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're all shooters, we're all scorers. Everyone can score on our team.
Yeah.
And getting that other person open, making that extra pass, I always think is the better option for us, especially when like teams are like double teaming and stuff.
Yeah.
It really helps when we have so many selfless players, but that have a scoring mentality
Mm-hmm.
that when we move the ball, we have one of the best offenses in like the nation.
100%. 100%. I agree with that 100%. And kind of jumping a little bit back to about you and your sister's last collegiate season, at least together. Is it bittersweet for you? Like that this is the last time you can play with your sister collegiately. Like,
It,
has it hit you yet, or
it hasn't yet. I, now I'm still enjoying, in the moment, enjoying playing with her,
yeah,
being on the court, being in practice with her. But I know it is gonna come when, especially her senior night, it's gonna really hit me.
yeah,
Get bittersweet, but I know, like at that moment, and even her last collegiate game, I know we can both say we did the best we could and had fun doing it, playing
yeah,
together.
yeah, for sure, for sure. What would you say is your most memorable moment of your collegiate career? Like in terms of a game, what's your most memorable moment or game
Ooh, I don't know.
that you can think of?
I think to me, I think it would be the Tampa game last year, playing at Tampa.
Okay.
When we did beat Tampa last year at their place, and coach had said like after the game, it's been a long time since we beat them at their place.
Yeah.
And I then we clicked together both offensively, defensively. We just played together. When we had like, even if we did have an off year last year,
Yeah.
when we did
Yeah.
that game, it really showed like we could have been a lot better, that we had potential. And now, like with this team, I feel like we have more potential with this team, and we are using that potential.
Yeah. Did you feel like coming into this year that you knew you guys were going to be good? Because I mean, you guys, this is arguably, I believe, one of the best starts in NSU history, and you guys are looking like a well-oiled machine. Like, did you know from day one at practice, he was like, "Yeah, we got something special here."
Yeah, I feel like I knew before practice.
Yeah.
Like coming in, I was like, we're gonna have a really good team.
Yeah.
You know, I would say where people came from, how they did at their place. And preseason, I feel like we would have had a really good team, especially like getting to know them during the recruitments, when they were coming in. They all seemed like really good people. So
Yeah.
like pretty much clicked with everybody, and like everyone had a really good personality. I was like, yes, we're gonna have a really good team this year.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And kind of like rounding out to like our last question. It's kind of like a little funny one that I'm curious about. You know, how often do you and Kyarrah play one-on-one? I mean, do you guys have like battles growing up, or like are you guys the type of teams that don't really play one-on-one because it gets too heated?
It does get really heated. That's why every time, like, I wouldn't say we play it a lot, but we do
Yeah.
play, especially like when we get bored, we always play, and it does get really heated. I
Yeah.
remember we were playing at Martin. It was in a practice, and we were doing like a one-on-one tournament, and it came down to like in one of like the bracket parts, it was me and Kyarrah playing against each other,
Yeah.
and that was the longest game of that little tournament we were doing. Everyone watching, the coaches are like, why can't you guys play physical like this during a game? We were throwing elbows,
No, for sure.
going into our bodies and stuff, trying to lay it up. We get physical when we play one on one.
Nah, I bet. I just had to ask that, 'cause I was just curious about it. But Kyarrah, I want to say thank you, for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. And if you guys are watching, don't forget to subscribe and tune in for next week's episode. Again, Kyarrah, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.